Hi, I'm your host Vasco Duarte. Welcome to the Scrum Master Toolbox podcast, where we share tips and tricks from Scrum Masters around the world. Every day, we bring you inspiring answers to important questions that all Scrum Masters face day after day. Hello everybody, welcome to our Wednesday, the Leading Change episode this week with Kulsoom Pervez. Hey Kulsoom, welcome back.
Hey Vasco, thank you.
So today's Wednesday. Wednesday is the change leadership episode, and we want to dive into one of those stories of change that you were part of and walk us through the steps, how the change was, started, how it was going, what were the steps that you were taking, or the whole organization or the whole team, whatever that might be, were taking. And as you go through those steps, highlight for us the tools, the tips, the tricks, and the techniques you learned back then that you still apply today.
Sure. So one of the stories that come to my mind is when I joined Scrum Master for a couple of teams for a product, and I was told that the teams are not performing. Delivery is not going well. And again, I was kind of brought in to change things. And whenever I hear such things, my instinct thought is that there must be some underlying reasons for that. So I started digging into, I observed the processes they had, and of course, there were a lot of gaps which explained why the situation was like that.
Can you give us an example of some of those observations?
Sure. So say one example was the teams were too big. We try to have small teams for a reason, right? And that was not there. Like they were around 15 people or so, and stand-ups used to run for an hour per hour. People did not they used to think that probably those stand-ups are the only time to collaborate during the whole day. And then again, there was stories used to remain open for days. If they used to get blocked, people were happy picking up other work rather than making sure that whatever is blocked, it gets unblocked, or raising impediments. Also, there were organizational level impediments, like testing environment that was not optimized, CI/CD problems, and a lot of things.
And they were not working on those, right? Like that's how
No,
you
they were
observed.
not. Yeah. So in fact, that is one of the approaches that I took, where I'm going to talk about it now. So with all this, I took kind of a multi-pronged approach where, first of all, again, as a Scrum Master, I have to build relationship with the team. I did that. I did the retros in a way which was different than their current retrospective ways, because they were also having managers in those retros. And of course, people were not going to open up in all those things. So that was one thing where I understood the problems that the teams were having. And then at the same time, I also made sure that I partner with the middle management and leadership. Because a lot of time, Vasco, I've realized that we Scrum Masters, we tend to focus too much on the team, which again is not bad. We are there for the teams. But we also have to realize that the middle management and leadership, they are not our enemies either, right? They can be very valuable allies when we are trying to bring this change. So I had a lot of conversations with them as well, understood their pain points. And then by having those conversations, I was able to make them aware of the problems which the teams were having. So basically making all the impediments visible. I ran a couple of surveys, which were impediment surveys, which again made all the impediments visible, gave the leadership food for thought. Oh, that's why it was happening. That's why things were not working or going as planned. And then with them, with the leadership, I created a plan for prioritizing those impediments, making sure that the impediments get addressed. We also implemented an impediment management process because we wanted to have this culture where things are not swept under the rug. You have to have the courage to speak about things which are blocking you or keeping you going at a slower speed. So ultimately, it was a long process. Again, not an easy one to have. but we did see a change. Teams started feeling confident. They knew that they were supported. They were not afraid to bring up the impediments. And the management also knew. In fact, they openly said that we are very happy that somebody is bringing all these problems to us, because we are there to help, but we don't know where to help. So that's the approach that I took, Vasco.
Absolutely. So build relationship with the team, make sure that the retros are safe enough for people to talk about, partner with middle management and leadership. And I really like the idea of running impediment surveys so that you make the impediments visible to management. I think that was a great insight and also very needed, right? Because that partnership is what ultimately creates the possibility for change when it's not only up to the team. And sooner or later, we reach those points. So I wanted to focus on that third step, the partnering with middle management and leadership, because it's also a critical part of the work we do, right? We don't just work with the teams, we also work with stakeholders, the team's management, other teams management, and those partnerships are important.
Right.
What are some of the tips you can share with us about building that partnership, that collaboration?
So I would say when you are having these conversations with middle managements or a leader, again, assume positive intent. That's very important. Sometimes we think and we fall into the trap that, maybe leadership is into this command and control kind of mindset or something, which they might not be. And when we start having these conversations, we can also separate our allies. We can find our allies who can help us in this change process. Another thing is, when you have these conversations with them, go with solid facts, because these are people who have very tight schedules. And they are result oriented. Most of the leaders, they are result oriented. So go with some concrete steps, maybe whatever, if you have any plans or ideas, pitch it to them. Be prepared to be rejected. You might get rejected as well, and that's okay. Not all ideas get accepted. But I would say be relentless and be open-minded. That's the one advice I would give. Keep your ego aside.
Also, because eventually you're there to help them, right?
Exactly.
And that's one of the things that we need to build into the way we interact with the people, like teams and leaders alike, right? We need to understand what is it that helps them, because that's what we can bring in.
Very, very true, Pasco. I really like that. Yeah, because they want the teams to do better, right? So that is their goals. And when you tell them that, hey, I'm there to help you in this goal, instantly you get their acceptance. And
that also means we need to find out what their goals are. And that's also an important part of our relationship and conversations with leadership.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's a great and very clear step, or process rather, with clear steps. So thank you for sharing that, Kulsoom.
Thank you.
Leading change is one of the core skills we must acquire, but it is only one of the steps towards our success as Scrum Masters. Tomorrow, on Success Thursday, we will talk about how to define success for the Scrum Master role. We'll cover tips on how to measure your way to that position, and most importantly, how to develop that focus on continuous improvement that is as important for Scrum Masters as it is for teams. See you tomorrow. We really hope you liked our show. And if you did, why not rate this podcast on Stitcher or iTunes? Share this podcast and let other Scrum Masters know about this valuable resource for their work. Remember that sharing is caring.